Hello, everybody. Welcome to Deadline Dilemmas. This is episode number 2. For those who missed it, we did an episode 1, but it was right in the middle of a Friday deadline before Game Week 1. So some of you might have missed it. We have the new co-host for Deadline Dilemmas, that is Trophy FPL or Mo. Mo, welcome again to the second
Thank you
episode.
very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, if you missed last week, it was a good episode, so I'll definitely catch up. But this week, we've got a lot to talk about, honestly.
We have lots to talk about, and it's a Thursday night, and I think by the time people will listen to this, it'll be a Friday morning. So, as usual, we will keep it short and sweet. This idea of this podcast is to complement the other pods that we do on FF Scout. So, this is not a long form content. It's basically to supplement those other burning questions and Scoutcasts. So, we'll primarily be focused on our teams, our last minute decisions. But before we do that, let's talk about our Game Week 1 teams. Not because I want to basically tell Mo that he had a terrible week, but I want people to feel okay that it's week 1. So tell me about it. What did you go with, and how did Game Week 1 go?
So it was a very difficult week. A lot of things went not great for me, Pras, and I'll start. So Henderson, not a big issue. No, every goalkeepers, isn't it? Trent went really well. The first big stumbling block was Kwanzaa. Now, this has been a talking point this week. He's gone down in price, and a little bit of a spoiler, he's someone I had to consider moving out. So he was the first issue. Slot was right, to be fair to him. It's ruthless. It sounds bad because on the eye, he seemed like he was having a good game. But the reality is, once Ebo came on, he made a big difference and allowed us to control the game. So he was my first issue, 1 point.
Yeah.
It's a double issue, actually, because then he was a transfer potential price drop. So that's the first one. Hall was no problem, 5 points, which was incredible, Press, considering they had a man down so early.
Yeah, no, I was happy with Hall 5-pointer. We can be greedy and say he got a yellow card, get the full 6, but also they conceded like 2 XG. So I was happy with the Hall points as well.
He had a bit of a shaky game. That's one of the I watched. Obviously, I'm so excited to have the football back. So I watched quite a lot of live football matches, and he had a bit of a ropey game. I will say that, but they hung in there. And fair play to Newcastle. Jolinton in that game was like, my goodness, he was like 3 players. So that was my defense. All in all, not the worst. There was one blank there, which is he got taken off at halftime. Midfield, we'll start with the positive. Jota could have got 2 or 3 goals, but we'll take the one goal.
Yeah.
Excellent goal by Liverpool. And then here's when the problems start, Press. So first of all, Nkuku, you don't have him. You've managed to dodge this pain in the butt. And even today, we've just seen he's scored a penalty and he's come off early again. So
well, he's won the penalty. Let's talk positives as well, Mo.
Yeah,
he won the penalty, which is going to be true even if he's not on pens in the Premier League. So that was good. He played in the number 10. That was good.
Yep. They're all positive, and he's getting closer to more fitness. So I agree with you. There is some positives there, but again, he is definitely being managed, and with the amount of luxuries Maresca has up front, it is something we might see for the next couple of weeks.
If he played 80 minutes, what would you say?
No, 80 minutes is fine. I think in the Premier League,
said, "Oh, he's played too much now. He must not start in the weekend." So if he plays less, then people will say, "Oh, he's being managed." If he plays a lot, people will say, "Oh, he'll miss the next game because he'll be tired."
It's one of those scenarios. Yeah, no, you're right. It's how we paint the narrative. You're right. He comes off early. He's being rested and prepared for Wolves as it's an important game because they want to get victory after the defeat against City. Or this is what we're going to see for the next couple of weeks while they look after him because he practically missed a whole year of football. So I'm not sure which one we want to take there. And I've got a really big dilemma, actually, which is perfect for us in this video because and it involves him. And we'll talk about more about that later on.
Yeah.
Next midfielder was Bruno Fernandes. Now, this one here, how do you explain this? I would have been on par, I reckon, with the other scores in game week 1 if he actually converted one of his chances. I think he was one of the
huge chances.
Huge chances, Prez.
Yeah.
I mean, you watched the game yourself. I watched the game. I was at Fest watching the game, and loads of us had Bruno there, and we couldn't believe what we witnessed. Like, he should have banged one. Just one of them would have meant a decent game week. But for him to miss those 2 chances was absolutely criminal. So, yeah, that was one of the big stumbling blocks. And then the last midfielder was Gordon. He got 3 points. And the reason I say that it is a blank, but it's because that red card destroyed the triple Newcastle.
It did, yeah.
Isaac and Hall, fortunate. You had the same triple up. Yeah, I expected. I mean, there was a bit of hope because when the red card happened, they changed into a 4-3-2, and Gordon went up top with Isaac. And then at times he covers the wide play. And I thought,
but I don't know. It's a bit like Rashford, where sometimes we get excited, oh, my player is playing up top. But players like Rashford, Gordon, what they need is basically isolated on the wing, and then when they get the ball, they run at their, their corresponding defender. They dribble past them, go into the box, take a shot or cross the ball. That's their strength. And I think that's same for Gordon, same for Rashford. So similar to Rashford, when he starts up top, I don't like it. I was not happy. Gordon needs to stay on the wing and attack the defender, which he couldn't do.
No, I totally agree with you. In normal circumstances, I'm happy with that. The reason I mentioned that because I thought there was a bit of hope. Because normally, if you get a man down and you turn into a 4-4-1, you have to work so hard because you're outnumbered that very rare you get to attack positions. Where as he went into the sort of front position, I thought you never know with the counter he could still pluck something. This was me really hopeful, but the reality was once Shaw got that red card, I thought this game is over FPL wise. But so that was the midfield. The midfield was realistically, it was one return from Jota. So that was very painful.
Yeah.
So you could see where the team's going, why I had a difficult week. And then the other one, because the other two are obvious, Haaland and Isaac. The other one was Solanke. Similar to Bruno, Pras. You watched that game. Did you see the chances he had in the first 20 minutes?
He did, but I think Bruno had the bigger chances. Like I feel like he was a little bit, I don't want to say rusty, but Spurs themselves were trying to find a way. They were very attacking. Like I was way worried. Like I didn't have Son, I didn't have Solanke, I didn't have Porro. And then once Porro scored, I'm like, okay, I'm going down in this game. But Solanke was close, and I think he's still a good pick.
I think he's a good pick. I'm excited. Obviously, we'll talk more about game week 2. But so that just summed up realistically how game week 1 went for me. It was 50 points. It's very low. I mean, I was below the average. What was the average? 62 or something. I can't remember. I couldn't even bring myself to log in. So when it's a week like that, I just leave it and think about game week 2.
I hear you. Look, I think the main difference in our team is I had a second premium, or actually in other teams that did well this week, they had a Saka or a Salah.
Yeah, that's
in
it.
addition to Haaland.
That's the difference, yeah.
So if you had a Saka or a Salah, you get basically 10, 12 more points. So I got 63. Yeah. If you had both and you didn't have Haaland, then you got a 70-ish. If you captained Salah, then you got an 80-ish. So that's basically the summary of the week. So
it is actually, yeah.
And so look, I wouldn't beat myself too much about it because this thing will swing. Some weeks Salah will blank, Saka will haul. Some week both will blank, and your other guys, the mid-priced premiums, or not premiums, but mid-priced midfielders like the Nkunkus, the Jotas, the Gordons will do well. Some weeks Haaland will score well. Some weeks he won't. So I wouldn't worry about a week. I think, and this is, I'm not just talking to you. I think I'm talking to pretty much everyone
in general.
Here.
Yeah, because there's quite a lot that have this sort of setup here.
Exactly. So this week, no Haaland teams did well because a lot of the good defenders kept clean sheets. A lot of the midfielders, Saka and Salahs, did well.
Yeah.
Next week, it could be Haaland that scores a hat-trick and, Salah blanks. And then suddenly the no Haaland teams are completely on the floor. And so on and so forth. So I think there's no one structure that works. So I wanted to have that calm conversation because part of Deadline Dilemmas is to calm people down, not to panic people to take hits on a Thursday night or to panic about their team. So that's where we are.
How was your game week though? Smoother than mine, wasn't it? 63 is not too bad.
63 is okay. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm happy with my Liverpool triple up. I've got Trent, Salah, and Jota. I think a lot of people will be looking to get to a triple up by game week 4, 5, 6. So it's good that I already have that in place.
It was a good move, yeah.
And my forward line is okay. Like João Pedro, maybe I would have preferred a Muniz. Like if I look at the fixtures going forward. But João Pedro is fine. He's very cheap. I've got Rodgers, who I'm happy with. I think he played well for Villa. So
although Raheem Sterling could go there and interrupt
it. He could interrupt it. So that's the thing about the transfer window. You need to be open. But where I am is I had no pressing injury concerns, and so I'm happy to take this team forward. Let's just go to our teams then. Maybe that's the way to do it.
I think so. Let's get stuck into. Let's go straight into my team first, Pras.
Yeah, go for it.
So here's. First thing I've done this week was Kwanzaa. I was really upset. I was hoping the masses didn't make the move for him because I still had this small chance that he could play. Yeah. People think he's banished forever. He's not. He's a very good player. He had a difficult game. Ipswich striker was causing him havoc. He was. And you could see the stats showed it was 50-50 in the duels. And that's not good enough for obviously against a promoted team. So I was upset. I would have benched him anyway, but I wanted to bank the transfer. That's what I wanted, Pras, like to be in that position. But so it is what it is. So what I've gone and done, first thing I've done is I've moved him to a 4 million now because I think I've got enough confidence now with rotation. I don't mind putting Harwood normally third bench and then Konsa, Robinson, and they can rotate if that makes sense for the position. I'm comfortable with that.
I
And
mean,
if I
this
do
is
need,
now my defense, except I have Barco instead of Howard Bellis. So I like the rotation in this defense.
yeah. So the reason I freed that money up, which I'm moving across. So I've started obviously Henderson. There's no choice. I don't have a backup goalkeeper. Trent, more than happy with. Robinson, we watched the live. He was pretty good, and it looks like even Manchester United are keeping an eye on him. If you was to believe the rumors
Yeah, yeah,
online,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's a very good player. Hall, even though it was a sketchy performance, hopefully he keeps his position, so that's not a problem as well. So that's the back three. In midfield,
I mean,
Jota.
you only need Hall to play this week. After this, Konza is playable for the next few.
I was about to say, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
the most exciting pick though, if I'm honest with you, but it's
But
something, isn't
Konza,
it? Yeah,
yeah, it's fine, man. I mean, exciting picks don't play. You know, Kwanzaa was exciting, but
he's
usually
exciting because he
doesn't play.
plays every minute. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I'm not going to jinx that, but yeah, you are right. That's why I put him in. I needed a bit of stability, especially when I had some not questionable, but a bit more risky picks like Kwanzaa. So defense picks itself in midfield. Jota after last week, I actually considered Praz. I know it's going to sound ludicrous, but I did think to myself he could even be captain because if he's going to play 80, 90 minutes against Brentford, I do see Liverpool scoring 3 goals, three,
Mm.
4 goals. They could match City. The way they're playing on the slot, I'm pretty confident, honestly. The way you saw that second half, it was like 25 minutes and we should have scored 7 goals.
Mm.
So if we can start like that, Brentford could be in trouble here.
But
And
to counter you, I mean, I have Salah and Jota, so I would love for you to be right. But as a balanced opinion, I also think Brentford are no mugs. I mean, the way they controlled, I mean, they gave up some chances
they
to
did give
Palace,
up some chances, yeah.
but they are a mature Premier League team that know not to give big chances.
Yeah,
Thomas Frank has played Liverpool many times. Obviously, it's Slot; it's a different manager, but
yeah.
he has played the team many times. Like you, I feel very hesitant to call a thrashing against Brentford. Like even City struggle against Brentford. So I'm not saying Liverpool will draw or anything,
No, I hear you. No,
but
no,
to call
definitely.
anything over 2 goals is difficult.
I think it's the Anfield proposition that's making me think that something could happen here. But you are right. If there's no goal in the first half, I change my opinion straight away. I just
Mm.
think the way on the slot the sustained attacks, I do think if a goal goes in the first half, I think we could be on to what I said, maybe 3 goals. But you are right. That's maybe over exaggerating it. But Jota obviously he's an excellent pick, and I'm almost jealous now. I don't have Salah with this fixture and the way Salah's looking, so you're in a good position. The next position is the one that I've got my dilemma, which is perfect for this video. So I've got Nkuku versus Smith Rowe, and I'm genuinely not sure which one to play. I've done a video on my channel, Praz, detailing all the stats between, looking at what happened in game week 1 and then looking at the predicted points and predicted goals and predicted clean sheets for the oppositions they're playing and tried to like work something out. And it was so tight, honestly,
Mm.
so difficult. So I'd love to hear your opinion. What do you think there? Because they both played similar minutes in game week 1. I mean, Smith Rowe just about got the 63 minutes, obviously in Nkuku. Smith Rowe, I think, has got the better fixture. Praz, you
Yeah,
reckon? Leicester at home, isn't it?
I would go for Smith Rowe. That's my gut feel. I mean, I have him. I just think if you're not going to play him Leicester at home, then why do you have him?
I was about to say, yeah.
Um, like even if he gets 65, 70 minutes, it's a better fixture on paper against a Wolves at home, Wolves away for Nkunku.
Yeah,
Nkunku is great, like nothing against him, but I
yeah,
think his expected minutes for Smith Rowe are higher than Nkunku. Like Nkunku, I would expect 55 to 65 minutes against Wolves. Smith
yeah.
Rowe 65 to 70 minutes, and then if you look at the fixture, I think it's a better fixture for Smith Rowe. No,
I
but
think,
none of them are on penalties. None of them are on set pieces.
yeah.
I just think it's the fixture to target.
I think that's the conclusion I came to. The fixture and the potential predicting minutes obviously is very difficult. We know
Mm.
that we are really reaching here because they both had similar minutes in game week 1. You could argue that both, or obviously Smith Rowe just joined a new club, so I'm not sure if he's going to jump straight into 90 minutes. But I do think he will get more minutes, and that's the one. So you're thinking, yeah, at the moment I've still got Nkuku in that position, but it is between them, and that's a big dilemma because I don't want to drop Bruno.
Yeah.
He had a good performance against Fulham. I know it was at home. Brighton will be a different proposition, of course, but he's one of those players, Prince.
Oh, you
Apart
don't
from the
drop
penalties,
Bruno.
you can't drop Bruno. No,
When you have a
no
player
chance.
on free kicks and penalties, that's a different proposition. If Nkunku was on penalties, like tonight's game, he won the pen and scored the pen. Of course, he won't score pens,
Chris
but
Palmer.
if he was on them, then
Yeah,
you don't drop him. Like
you would
my
never
answer would
drop
have
him.
been Nkunku.
Yeah, you would have had him. Yeah, of course. I totally agree with you. So at the moment, that's the dilemma, and I've been going back and forth. Part of me thinks Chelsea is a superior team. I mean, I know at the moment Chelsea are all over the place, but reality is they are a superior team
Well,
than
let's go to
Fulham.
Rob T's slide. Let's have a look. So if you look at this Rob T graphic, I think what you see is Fulham is expected to score 1.75 goals and Chelsea is expected to score 1.95 goals. So basically, you have to take the team strength out of it. They're both expected to score similar amount of
Yeah,
goals. And then basically, you have to look at how much of a talisman they are, right? I mean, Smith Rowe will share his goals with Muniz, maybe Andres Pereira. That's it, right?
yeah.
But Nkunku is going to share his goals with Palmer, with Jackson, with Neto, with Enzo Fernandez. Now, I'm not saying all of them will score, but I'm just saying he's not as talismanic. I mean, he's a way better player than ESR is, but
Yeah.
I just feel it's worth going for that upside Leicester fixture.
So I know you're saying this, but obviously you don't own Nkunku. Would you have the same thinking as well, Praz? You would
I would
start.
definitely
You
play.
would
I mean,
definitely,
Smith
yeah,
Rowe over. I mean, this is the reason I went for a Smith Rowe is because I felt that if I can not play him in game week 1, where he played away to Man United, I ended up playing
yeah,
Rodgers. Now Rodgers blanked himself, so it didn't matter.
yeah.
But the idea was that hopefully I can somewhat cover Nkunku. I know Nkunku's better, but you also pay a million more for him. So that was the thinking for this week at least, and then you reevaluate next week. I think there's enough reason. Now the only spanner in what I've said now is basically tonight, Palmer, there are some videos showing that Palmer has gone off at the end of the game holding his thigh. Now, it could be nothing, but if that is the case, then Nkunku could be on pens. So that changes everything
That would change everything. Yeah,
because then his pen share goes up.
yeah,
As in pen share,
yeah.
he's probably on pens if they win a penalty against Wolves.
Definitely. Yep.
So in that case, I would start Smith Rowe. So it all comes down to the press conference on what anyone says about Palmer, I guess.
Yeah, if Palmer is a doubt, I would leave Nkunku in 100% because it changes it straight away. Because even in preseason, he scored 2 penalties when Palmer wasn't there, and
Correct.
tonight as well. So straight away, that just gives him that extra.
Then your dilemma becomes Gordon versus ESR, in my view. Because look at Newcastle. Newcastle are 1.8 goals expected, and Fulham are 1.75. Again, nothing in it.
It's close,
So
but that one there, that one for some reason didn't really come into my head because I just think Gordon. I've got something. I don't know. Maybe it's too much bias I've got towards him, but I really fancy him, and I did fancy him in the first game. I was really upset with the red card, but that is for me. It was only between Nkunku because I think Gordon's going to get the minutes. That's the reason, Praz. I think he'll get enough opportunity where the games start becoming end to end in the last 20 minutes. I think Gordon will be there.
fair enough. If that's your view, that's okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's what edges it for me. The Nkunku penalty thing could be a game changer. I would keep him in the team. But it would be a shame, like you said, I bought ESR in for these moments, and then all of a sudden he just sits on the bench.
That's
It's
okay.
almost
It's
too
okay
good
to
to be a
have good
bench.
bench. It's okay to have
Yeah.
a bench cover, to be honest. It's not the end of the world.
Well, we've seen with game week, just in game week 1, with Barco, potentially Porro, with Kwanzaa, a bench is needed.
Yeah.
Bench is without a doubt. So let me flick back to my team if I can flick back to every time I click this here. Here we go. There we go. This is your team. Let's
Right.
go back. Yeah, we're good to go.
So yeah, I think that's fine if you want to keep it like this. I don't think it's a bad move. I mean, I would play Konza over Harvard Bellis though, or maybe not. Actually, it's fine.
I don't against Arsenal. I think even though Aston Villa are so good, I
They
just
beat
think
them twice last year.
they've done a double on them, Praz, and that's the reason I'm thinking. I think that adds to why I think they're not going to win this time or keep a clean sheet. I'm thinking it's the opposite. I'm thinking Arsenal now have to go there and show if there's an improvement. This is the game; they need to show the improvement.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that's the reason I was thinking that. But you are right. Obviously, it's a superior player, but I'm hoping I don't reach that far in my bench. I mean, I'm hoping the defense actually, like the whole team starts and plays.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Praz? What do you think, first of all, of my transfer situation? It was not a nice predicament to be in with Kwanzaa, being almost forced, because I didn't want to lose that 0.1. And the reason for that is, and I'll give you a bit of insight what the thinking was. I'm really hot on Eze. And I would, if I see any more Nkunku, if he keeps on giving me headaches, say another 57-minute transfer, it is a possibility I could go Nkunku to Eze, Praz, and I needed that 0.5 because that's the exact money. I couldn't afford to lose that.
Right. Oh, so you have 0.5 in the bank?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the reason, because I went from Kwanzaa 4.5 to Harwood, who's 4. So I started to think ahead. I was thinking, you know what? The rotation, like you said, Robinson and Kwanzaa are going to be good enough for upcoming game weeks. Let me bring that 0.5 in and start thinking of Eze. I saw enough in game week 1. I know why you're so hot on him. 7 shots. They didn't go unnoticed for me, Praz. Even though he
Yeah,
didn't really do anything. I mean, he was unfortunate with that disallowed goal. But I've seen enough to think now, you know what? I want him in my midfield. And if there's any more in this upcoming game weeks that saying Cuckoo carries on doing what he's done in game week 1, I could move that.
got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it makes sense. In your position, though, now I've understood. You had Robinson, Hall, and Konza already. I would have let, I would have let him drop, but it's fine. You did it, so I don't want to stop you.
It was that first the power of the rolling of the transfer versus losing the 0.1. And just say if I do need to make that move, that's what went through my head. Say game week 2, I want that option to be there. Yes, the transfer is. I would love to have to roll a transfer. I'm behind, not just in points. I'm behind in transfers being banked. I know, but that's the way the game goes at
No,
times.
that's
It's an
fine. That's
unfortunate
fair
game,
enough.
So that was my thinking there with that. I made the move. I nearly never done it because part of me thinks he could actually play. How about that? You know how
Yeah.
annoyed we'd all be.
But
Oh,
look, I think that's a solid 5 now. Now that you've made the move and you have 0.5 banked, so I agree with you. That's something that you can explore. The only downside is next week there could be double moves that become popular.
I know.
So then like if Isak gets injured, actually you could do Isak to Watkins with your 0.5. So you do
Yeah,
have a lot of routes,
there's an
but
option.
because of release money, I get it.
That's the reason I've done it, Pras. Exactly what you said, to open up. Or I could go from, just say, Solanke again. He might be unlike. It's a beautiful fixture this game week against Everton with
To
all the
Havertz.
injuries coming up. It's a gorgeous fixture. But just say, I could go from him to Havertz.
Yeah, but Havertz going to rise before the deadline.
That's the only problem. I did think that. Yeah, the people out there attacking, they're going for him, aren't they? Too quick. But that
I
was
think
another.
Jota and Havertz will rise because they're cheap, right? I mean, Salah, Saka, still not everybody can get there.
No.
But Jota and in fact, let me have a look at FPL statistics now. By the time people watch it, it may have already happened. But Jota
It
and
might have.
Havertz are both set to rise today.
Yeah. But you see the
And the
thinking, but you see what I'm
droppers,
getting at though,
yeah.
Praz, is to open up the potential for other
Oh, I
moves.
get it.
And as I looked, I saw Conson, Robinson, and I thought, you know what, that should be enough. I mean, worst case scenario, Harwood does play, albeit. I mean, Southampton's fixtures are actually decent at the moment, to be honest. But if I did ever need him, but I thought that was comfortable. I needed that money in the bank. I wanted to keep. It really annoyed me that Conson. When I saw the price predictions, I was like, oh, I don't need this so early. Not in game week 1, but
Yeah.
that's the way it's gone. So
Let me
yeah, and
just
just
put it out there. I would have held in your position. We'll see. If you need two moves next week, I will tell you that look, you should have held. But if you cleverly use your 0.5 next week, you can tell me that look, I was sensible and I saved the 0.1 and now I can upgrade to an Eze or someone. So look, I get it. There's no one right way.
it's impossible,
Um,
isn't it? It depends how
yeah,
the game pans out. It might work in my favor, or like you said, Kwanzaa plays, and I've lost the transfer. So I totally agree with you. I made that decision. It was a difficult one, but with the information I had at the time, and I started to just think forward. It was mainly Eze actually. I was picturing in my head. I was like, you know what? I need to make space, have that money in there just in case. So that
right.
was the midfield. I'll finish off with my team up top. So Solanke this week, Praz, looks a beautiful. I
Very
know
good.
it's look very good,
Half
isn't
of
it?
Everton team is dead. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth it.
So I'm happy with that. And then the rest is, pretty template, Haaland and Isaac.
So Haaland triple captain?
I'm not considering it, I'm going to wait for a double. I mean, I know there's been talk about it, and it's a good fixture, obviously, against City. I will say Ipswich, first half were very good. And if you look at their stats, Praz, without the ball, the running, the amount of distance they've covered, the presses, the sprints, incredible. But if Liverpool wore you down in the second half, Man City is the worst team possible to play because no one keeps the ball like them. So you're running around like that. And if it's a hot day, I can see why people are thinking about it. Why are you considering it?
So it's a bit like Khalid and Salah, where I started out with, nah, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that. Then you sleep one night and you go, maybe I can do that. It would be cool if I did that. Then you wake up another night and you go, it's actually possible. And then you wake up another night and then you go, yeah, I can do it. So I'm on the, it's actually possible type of scenario at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a lot going for him, man. I mean, there's a lot going for him. Like, if you're talking about a scenario, so I've already said this on many streams, but I'll repeat it because not everybody listens to everything that I do.
Yeah.
Is the problem is there's only 2 double game weeks this year, right?
Yeah.
So one is definitely for bench boost, and the other one could be for a free hit or this mystery chip. So like whatever the mystery chip, it would be beneficial to use it in a double game week. Like unless it's completely random,
I was
there
about to
would be
say, yeah,
benefits. Like even if it's a mystery chip saying double points for defenders, even then you want your defenders to play twice, right? Because you get double points for all of them, as compared to you get double points for one more player. You would use it in a double game week. So I think increasingly, if you think about it, triple captain will have to be played in a single game week. Then if you think Haaland, right, completely rested, no midweek game, there is no rotation. There's no other striker he can rotate with. City are not going to like start resting players because there's nothing. There's no Champions League in their
nah,
mind. In the beginning of the season, championship teams are a little bit. At least you saw this with Ipswich, right? They're a little bit gung ho. Like, okay, we can
yeah,
do it. We can play the same way as we played in the championship. We can play the same way. Then you get humbled a couple of times, and then they become a little bit more pragmatic. See Burnley last year.
yeah.
So all of those. And by the way, another one, you don't know if you'll own Haaland in the next time that there's a juicy fixture, right?
Good
I mean, we
point.
will try,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. Good
as we've
point.
seen, you can't own them all this year. You can't
Yeah,
own them all. There could be windows where Haaland has a tough fixture before and after Southampton at home game, and then you go, maybe I won't have Haaland during that period. So if you own Haaland in this very particular window, and the market suggests that his expected points are basically 8.9. I did this math on Rob T's Twitter
yeah.
today.
I'll put it up now, Praz. Just so I'll put it up on the screen because you're right. When you look at City's one,
3.3 goals.
oof,
And usually Haaland's share in that is about 50%. So you're talking about 1.5 goals that
yeah,
he's expected to score. 1.5 goals, roughly 6 points. 2 appearance points, that's 8. Let's give him a bonus on average. So that's
yeah.
9 expected points. If I gave you 9 expected points, would you triple captain?
I think you take it. Yeah,
I think you take it. You
you take it.
we
Yeah,
got 10 last year. I think if I remember correctly in the double game week where he got that double early on, I think a lot of us had 10 on him. Were
I
you
think
on
that's a
that?
very conservative take. It. I think a lot of us do dream of the super hauls. You know,
In a double.
18
In a
point.
double.
Yeah, in a double, but in a single, you
In
got
a
to be
single,
realistic.
9 is high.
Yeah, 9 is good. You take that. Yeah. And Haaland is someone, like you said, his goal involvement ratio is one of the best. I do sometimes captaincy videos and stats. And when I was looking at him a lot last year, Praz, he's always, like you said, in the 30-40% of Man
Mm,
City's goals. And that, you know how high that is? Very few players last year, it was only Salah and Son that reached those figures. That were you're that involved in everything. So when City score, he's more than likely going to be involved. You don't really get that any other player. So I
yeah.
can see why.
And by the way, 9 is the median, right? Of like 1,000 simulations or 1,000
Yeah.
times if you place, that's 9
Yeah.
expected. It could be 5, it could be 2, it could be 12, it could be 17. So it's somewhere in the middle, right? It could still be a
Yeah.
hat trick. Like you never know. So I'm just saying it's worth it. Like I'm increasingly thinking it could be worth it. But the counter to all this is forget about Haaland this week. Let's see what the mystery chip is. If it needs to be played in a double, then just triple captain someone else later. If it's not Haaland against Southampton, it's Salah against Ipswich, it's Salah against Leicester, or it's Saka against Leicester. Like there will be other weeks. And ultimately, a good triple captain would be maybe 12, 13. If it's all single game week, it's all
Yeah.
13, 14 points versus 8, 9 points. So maybe that doesn't matter so much anyway. So you could just leave it and see how it goes.
I mean, I'm with you, Praz. You're talking to the converted because I've done previously, I've used triple captain in single game weeks and it's
Okay.
worked out really well. Honestly, I used it on Mane. I think it was a goal and 2 assists. I've used it before on
Huddersfield.
Salah. Yeah, I think that's
I did
it.
that as well.
You done it as
Because
well. So I
because
have
not
gone
because
for
I like single game weeks, because there was no more weeks left.
there was no more weeks. Say
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
I was in a similar predicament. So my point is, of course, you've already explained it. If the double's there and it works out nicely, we're going to take it. The probability is on our side. But the reality is, if I have to use it in a single game week, it will be on someone like a Man City Haaland versus a promoted team Ipswich
Hmm.
at the Etihad, where you're not going to get a sniff of the ball. Like the adrenaline I saw against Liverpool, the first half, they were excited. Adrenaline is powerful. They kept up for 45 minutes. The second half, you could see in their faces, they were like, oh, Van Dijk's that big. Salah's that fast. Like it hit them. They're like, oh my goodness. And City's going to be even worse. They're the worst team to play, honestly. So nothing wrong with that. I'm not considering it yet, though, Braz. I know you're saying you're starting to actually consider it. I've not at the moment. No.
I'm not ruling it out. Now, of course, a
Yeah.
lot of people will watch this and comment, "No way, Pras is not going to do it." They're right, because I'm more likely to not do it as things stand than do it. But I'm not ruling it out. Saturday morning, I can do it. I can feel it and I can do it, and I'm just letting people know now that it can
Yeah,
happen,
exactly. Yeah,
because
yeah.
the trend, again, similar to Salah and Haaland draft trend, in my mind, it's only going little bit up, little bit up, little bit. So if on Saturday it creeps up above 50%, maybe I'll do it.
You'll go
But I
for
think
it.
right now I'm like 30-70. So it's still like I'm probably not gonna do it. But I'm liking the idea more and more. The more I think about it.
Yeah, mine's more. I'm a lower percentage than you did. It'd take a really big. It maybe some news like, I don't know, Ipswich centre backs get injured or something like that. I don't know. But for now, no, I'm not going to go for it yet.
See this other chart by Rob. It's not shown here, but it's got the odds of him scoring 1+ goal is 74%.
Yeah,
It's massive. Like, it's 3 in 4 chances that he's going to score 1 goal. The odds of him scoring 2+ goals is 40%. So 2+ goals, 40%, huge odds. That's
that's
huge.
incredible. That's incredible. Yeah,
Like, I'll tell you what 40% odds are. That's for Solanke and Muniz to score this week 1 goal. So the odds of Haaland scoring a brace are the same as Solanke scoring even one home to Everton, or Muniz scoring even one home to Fulham.
but
It's the same odds as
I mean, this is
Haaland getting a brace.
it's a special scenario, Praz. We haven't seen a player like a goal scoring machine in a Pep team that funnels every chance through him. It's just
Who's going to play 90 minutes, no midweek disturbance.
exactly take penalties. I mean, I don't want to, he's just everything is in his favor. You could argue maybe the fixture against Leicester will be better. Ipswich maybe a bit more resilient than Leicester,
That's the thing. I
but
think that you make a
you
very good
don't know the
point.
scenario.
We don't know which team is the battering team. Like,
Yeah,
Leicester did well for one half, Southampton did well for arguably the whole game, but red card muddied it. Ipswich did really well for one half and then very badly for one half.
yeah,
We don't know yet which team is the one that you want to target. So that's an excellent point, actually. That's the one thing in my mind, that maybe you're jumping the gun too early, and then we find out after 6 game weeks that Ipswich are legit. Like, that was
yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
So fair point.
So I mean, I'll go
Anything
back.
else on
Just
your team? Any benching
no,
dilemmas? Anything else?
I think that was the dilemma, to be honest. The Smith Rowe and Cuckoo's the big one for me. That's the ultimate. Since after I've made the transfer, I'm pretty comfortable set on this team. There's not much else this week for me. I'm
Okay.
happy with the triple Newcastle.
Okay.
Hey guys, thank you for watching Fantasy Football Scouts Deadline Dilemmas ahead of Game Week 2. Just a quick 2-minute promo with Gianni from our video sponsors, FANTEAM. In this quick promo, we're going to introduce their Big Pick 6 weekly Premier League format fantasy game. In this game, you pick 6 players, and that you can pick 6 players in any position, maximum of 3 from one club. And this week, we've got 3 games to pick from: Wolves, Chelsea, Bournemouth, Newcastle, and Liverpool, Brentford. You've got a limited budget, and there's a safety net in place if your player doesn't start. He will be replaced at kickoff by someone from the same team and same position. It costs just £2 to enter. There's a guaranteed £7,500 prize pool, and the top 20% of finishers get paid. So it's a really good opportunity to win some money in game week 2. And what we're going to do with Gianni is we are going to bring up the scout team, which I'll read out for those in the podcast. That is Trent, Palmer, and Nkunku, Salah, Jota, and Isak. So Gianni, who are you looking at on the Sunday to target?
I love this. There's proper Super Sunday vibes. Like, you enter and within a few hours you'll know how you got on, rather than the whole sort of weekend long game. So I'm all for this game. Obviously, still it's a max 3 per team. Genuinely, if I could go 6 Liverpool players, I probably would. The 3 Liverpool, you can't argue with the names you've gone for, like Trent, Salah, Jota. Double Chelsea? More, I don't know. Tom, I guess you put this team together from Scout. You're a Chelsea fan, so am I. I think I'd probably go double Newcastle over double. I'd go Gordon and Isak maybe instead of Palmer and Nkunku. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. Of course, you've got to cover the 3 teams we've just mentioned.
Yeah. What about maybe a blanket defense as a strategy? Do you like that?
Yeah, I don't mind that. And again, some games you look at stacking, and you could in this one too. It's just only having triple Liverpool, isn't it? The defense you'd want to back most is probably Liverpool, and then you can't have double attack. So yeah, it's an interesting one. Picking, do you commit to double defense or double attack? But Liverpool are clearly the big win team here, we think. And under Slot, they've got a little bit more control. They're going to keep more clean sheets. They might score fewer goals. They're going to keep more clean sheets, I think.
Yeah. So just quickly, if people are looking, obviously trying to win, maybe need to go a little bit differential. Have you got a differential from each of the big clubs you could maybe point out?
I wonder, I mean, look, if we were to get team news here that Pedro Neto is starting against his old club, like that's quite exciting for Chelsea fans, but also against Wolves, they're like there's something in that narrative. And then at Newcastle, yeah, like obviously Jacob Murphy will feel like he's owed something. Had an amazing pre-season, but then he was the sacrificial lamb as Fabian Schär was sent off. So is there a bit of narrative there to go like, okay, Jacob Murphy is going to get a start this week. We'll know if he's starting now in the 2:00 game. Could you chuck him in? Maybe. He's red hot pre-season.
Yeah, and then I guess from Liverpool, maybe Szoboszlai or Diaz as well. Could be interesting there.
Yeah, I love Szoboszlai at 6 point. Well, it's 6.5 my FPL team, but yeah, Diaz is always fun. Diaz is obviously more attacking there. Again, if he doesn't start, you get a replacement. But no, Szoboszlai I think has way more goal threat this season playing in the 10.
Yeah, for sure. So it's that simple. It's 6 players. It's no budget. Max 3 from any club, and it's just the Sunday fixtures this week. So something, as Gianni says, to keep you entertained during Super Sunday. This is, of course, 18 plus. Be gamble aware and always play responsibly. But yeah, check out the link in the description. The FANTEAM Big Pick 6 game is live now. And now we're going to go back to Deadline Dilemmas ahead of FPL Game Week 2.
Okay, then I can go to my team then, I guess.
Yeah, let's go to your team.
So Henderson in goal, similar to you. Trent, Hall, and Robinson. We're on the same back four. I'm also on Gordon. I'm also on Jota. I've got Smith Rowe instead of Nkunku of yours, and I've got Salah instead of who do you have?
Bruno.
Bruno. That I like that upgrade. But then obviously I don't have Solanke. I have João Pedro, and I have Haaland and Isak. So that's my team. Obviously I'm rolling. I had no issues. I mean, Barco was the minor issue. I think it's been cleared up. Like Neil had this, like everyone is discussing, oh, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. Neil comes up with, here are the last 50 loans that have happened in the league, and none of them changed in price. So everyone's like, okay, shush, it won't change. So if the moment he's red flagged, his price won't change. And I'm looking at FPL statistics, he's not even close to a drop. So there's no chance I'm doing
stranger
anything.
Things have happened though, Praz. You never know. I mean, when are they going to red flag him? And people might start panicking because there are people that might want to actually use him. And as the game week creeps up, it is, as the game week creeps up, you never know.
Good luck to them. If they want to use their valuable transfer on a 4.0 defender, best of luck.
You can tell that I'm sour with my Kwanzaa move, so I don't mind if this happens with Barco. That's the reason I'm thinking that.
If it
even
drops,
up the odds.
It can drop tomorrow and I'll have zero regrets. Like I'll have regrets that why did it drop, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching it because next week I have some spicy moves. Like I could go Isak up to Watkins with a Gordon down to Eze. I could go, I could even go Haaland down to Watkins and Smith Rowe up to Palmer or Foden. Like there's lots of moves. I could go Jota. Let's say Jota misses the next game or, he gets injured. Jota down to Minte, Robinson up to Robertson. Like I feel like 2 moves are going to be very powerful next week. Now, I'm not rubbing it in for people who
you are rubbing it in. Don't worry, mate. You are right.
Look, you could do the 2 moves in 3 weeks. So it's not the end of the world.
Or I could take a -4, but I don't want to do that, obviously.
Honestly, hits are going to be very, very costly this year. Like it's still 4 points, but in prior years with more double game weeks, you could take 10, 15 hits in a year and it would be okay. I think if you're taking if you're taking over 5 hits this year, it's going to be detrimental.
It could be. Yeah, it
really
could be.
So
actually.
I'm going to be here every Thursday talking you out of taking a hit. If that's the one thing I do, is to calm you down and to stop you taking a hit.
Yeah, I'm not really like hit crazy. I think last season I didn't take too much hits, but there are times I think where it needs to be done, Praz. Even of what you said, circumstances. Obviously, you're playing against people that's got transfers banked, and they're going to be more detrimental to our teams. But I do think when there's a time to do it, it's got to be done. I'm hoping next week I could maybe even roll, and then I'm back in, like you said, 2 transfers and whatnot. So
exactly.
Yeah, but your team, looking at your team, Pedro surprised me. His minutes, because there was a lot. If I thought he'd played that much, I would have possibly gone there, Praz. But I wasn't too sure of him. He missed the whole of preseason, played 1 game, scored that stunner, of course, And then all of a sudden, straight back into the team and played really well as well. So,
Played well, and there was this Welbeck interview where he was talking about his chemistry with João
yep,
Pedro.
yep,
So look, I think I'm happy with his minutes. Obviously, next week he goes to the bench and Rogers starts
yeah,
because Villa have a good fixture against Leicester and he plays Arsenal. So that's
yeah.
the rotation I had in mind, basically a Villa Brighton kind of rotation, and we'll see how that works out. But will he be available for me to play in game week 4 and 5 when Brighton's fixtures are really, really good? I hope so. I really hope so. Even though they signed Rutter, I hope that he's somebody who I can rely on because I want him. Like I need this team to carry me through till game week 5 because the plan is a game week 6 wildcard. And so these guys, both Villa and Brighton, were the teams I was backing for game week 4 and 5. Already Barco has gone. Rogers could go away, and then suddenly for 4 and 5, I need to do 2 or 3 transfers to actually make it better. But that's fine. If I have to do that, I will do that.
I think after that performance, Praz, I think he's okay for this game week, unless an injury. I know they've got luxuries of attackers as well, and we're still learning a lot about the manager, but I think that's a nice partnership. And Welbeck played so well. He's another 5.5 million. If he could stay fit, honestly, the finish is brilliant. But yeah, I think you're good with Pedro. The reason I mentioned him, because at one stage I thought that might be when I saw your game week 1 team, I thought, oh, that could be a risk there. But it's looking like he's actually a good pick at the moment.
So my team on a Friday morning, which I discussed on I think with you as well, had Eze instead of Gordon and Muniz instead of João Pedro.
It did surprise me when I see the change, yeah.
Well, but that's I had to do it because there was all this thing on, Eze is more likely to leave than not and things like that. And I was like, screw it. I don't want Eze to be leaving and then I have to deal with an Eze. So I regret it. Like right now, if I had Eze home to West Ham and Muniz home to Leicester in this team, I would say, man, that's a great team right now. But I had to make that little change and I had to get Gordon, who I don't like, man. I mean, last season, he was the one player, when you get, they don't score. When you don't have, they keep scoring. He was that to me. So I wasn't too happy.
Keep the faith. He's a good player. I think he returns this week. I know last year the statistics were heavily weighed at home and away. He was, So in theory, it's against us this week. But yeah, I'm confident. Something there's a good player there.
And next week they're home to Spurs, right? And I'm happy with that. Like Spurs don't like going to St. James's Park. Like it's tough.
And the way Spurs play, Praz, I mean, we discussed this a little bit in game week 1. The way they empty the wide positions with Porro Nudegi. I mean, you saw Leicester. Vardy should have scored. Did you see where Vardy should have won the game? That was Porro's position.
Yeah, I did.
Porro, if you're playing against Spurs and you're a wide guy, you should be licking your lips because they just say, "Here you go, help yourself." So long as you transition quick enough. It's a weird style of football, but fair play. It's front-footed and very aggressive. But I could see Gordon there. My goodness, yeah, that's a real good fixture.
Good point.
I mean, one thing about your team then, Praz, is there anything you see that you're batting against this game week that worries you? Obviously, you can't cover everything. You're not making transfers every week, but
Solanke, Arsenal in general. So Arsenal away to Villa is not an easy game, but they could win 2-0. Saka could score a 10-pointer, and the Arsenal defenders still get a clean sheet. So I think going against Arsenal, not easy. But then my logic is now Arsenal have 3 away games, the 3 tough away games. So they're not going to keep 3 clean sheets in that. I'm confident enough of that. Like, okay, I can eat my words, but I'm confident. It's absolutely fine. So we'll see. And of course, lastly, I'm going against City defense, which a lot of us are. Home to Ipswich looks like a good clean sheet fixture.
I think that's a clean sheet fixture. But did you see Arsenal's performance wasn't the best against Wolves? So you can take that both ways. These 3 away fixtures are going to be extra tricky because they might not be in gear. But also, if you're winning 2-0 when not playing well, tells you what quality team they are. And I reckon they do turn up. They possibly keep 2 cleans in those 3, Praz. So they could still hurt us because we're non-owners.
They could. And that's fine. By game week 6, I'll have 3 of them. So it's not a problem.
And captaincy, did you not even slightly consider Salah? Not even a little bit, Praz. You've considered the triple captain for
this
Haaland.
week?
Yeah.
No chance.
Is that no zero
chance? I mean, I'm not saying Salah's not going to do well, but it's not even close. Like Haaland at home to Ipswich is at least 1.5 times better than Salah home to Brentford.
Wow.
Okay, maybe that's too much, but I think Salah is good. Haaland is exceptional. You don't need to go against. If you have Haaland, you don't need to overthink it at all.
Yeah, I did see the graph that Sky Sports showed regarding how much goals he scored, and it's like almost double Salah's goals. Like 91 to is it 46 or something? It's crazy. So yeah, it's hard to to argue against that.
Mm.
But I think you're set up in a good position. I'm hoping this week, if Bruno does something, if Bruno matches Salah, then I'm hoping to be on more points than you this game week. That's the hope. Because with Solanke,
We are not competing more. We are
No.
just facilitating.
Of course, I'm not
But
using
I
it
would
as
love for
competition.
Bruno to get a brace. You know, it's fine.
It's a win-win for you. That's
It's
how
a
I
win-win.
took. That's
It's
how
a
I took
win-win.
Salah's points last week.
Yeah.
These ones didn't bother me as much as Saka's ones, because obviously Saka's Arsenal. Salah's ones, I'm like, yeah, go on, then you can have them.
I mean, this is how my week transpired, right? I mean, first Salah hold, and then I'm like, what a decision, Salah instead of Saka. Here we go, and then obviously Saka gets his double return, and I'm like, it's fine. I guess Salah still outscored by 2 points. So the sequence sometimes plays with our mind as well, which it shouldn't.
It should. What, in fact, actually, while I've got you, because I know you're a United fan, what do you expect from United versus Brighton?
Like 2-1 to either side, or a 1-1, something like that, or even a 2-2. Like I think both. Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good point. Let's look at that.
Yeah,
1.5, 1.6, 1.6. So very similar. Like it could be 2-2, it could be 1-1, something like that.
And I'm asking these questions selfishly for me. I've got Bruno. Does he play in that false nine, him and Mount sort of sharing it? Or is Xerxes, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is he going to start? I prefer Bruno facing the game because his passing is unreal. So I'm hoping
I think it will be the case. Like
Do you think
it's
so?
worked
Yeah.
so far. I think Xerxes again comes on 30th, 50th minute or 60th minute. But I do expect Garnacho to start this one instead of Ahmad. So anyone who has
Yeah.
Ahmad should probably sell or bench. So that's all. By the way, Maresca has said that he's fine. Palmer is fine. So Nkunku back on your bench.
Yeah, and Nkunku go back on the bench. I think ESR has to get the run out. Now, if we're here next week and Nkunku scored 2 goals, honestly, I'm not sure I'll be able to handle it.
I take no blame. In fact, let me end it with go with your gut.
That is the best. Yeah, no, I think
the
at
best.
the moment, yeah, no, I think so, Praz. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that decision. I'm going to just commit to it. I think at the moment it is with ESR because of the Leicester fixture and the expected minutes. I'm going to give it to him.
Cool. Let's leave it there. Let's see what other spanners are thrown in the Friday press conferences. But hopefully this gives you a good idea of where we are at and some of the key decisions we're making, which hopefully are similar to the ones that you're making. We will try to do this on Thursday nights and have them to you on Friday. Sometimes we'll do a Thursday night stream once we get a little bit more comfortable with the hosting. But we appreciate your support. There was some good comments in the last video, so appreciate it always. Every good comment we read, and we really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Mo, last words?
Thank you very much. Please like all the videos, and as Praz said, get in the comments and let us know any other things you want to discuss.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.